Good evening and a very happy Ramadan to one and all. May I hope everybody is doing very well and thank you everyone to joining in here. And very good evening to all. Very good evening to one and all present here. As you all know, that the topic for today's webinar, which we are going to start with, is research methods and research methodology. So, today the webinar is structured in such a way that it will cover the basics to a little bit intermediary and to an advanced level. And all the webinars are structured in such a way that we do not assume that you guys know already, because we have a mix of audiences, right? So we kind of design our structure in such a way that so that it caters to the knowledge and learning to all of yours. All right. Okay, so this webinar is being coordinated and conducted on behalf of or from Research Graduate. So let me tell you about Research Graduate. It's a consulting company, and we are basically delivering our services on the facades of research. So irrespective you are an academician already, or you are a scholar, you and irrespective whatever level of education you are at, you are at masters or you are at doctorate level or you are at undergrad, no problem. So whatever your research queries are, maybe you are struggling even from the basic, that is your topic selection, or you are struggling in the midst of your dissertation, that is somewhere, or your statistical analysis, or even your review writing, or give it in a good shape of it. So you may rely on Research Graduate. So the services which Research Graduate, or rather I should say that the research facilitation the Research Graduate delivers, is right from topic selection till the time your body of research is ready, that is editing, proofreading, and formatting. So that was about Research Graduate. And when it comes to my introduction, myself Dr. Renu Mishra, and I am based in Dubai, UAE, and I am a management assistant professor, wherein I'm taking care of HR domain management is my area of specification, and I teach students for MBA and PhD, and I also am serving for the journal reviewer for many uh, international and the journals. When I say national journals from India and international journals from Australia and USA. And I obtained my PhD from Jamia Hamdard. I hope many of you, if you have heard it from, it's a university which is based in Delhi, and I obtained my higher education teaching certificate from Harvard University. So that was about me. And moving further about the Research Graduate contact details, because just in case if you want to have get in touch with Research Graduate, these are the details. You can get in touch with us with the email ID this and WhatsApp number, and you can browse us on this um, website as well. All right. Now, there are some couple of information which I would like to deliver to you, that the structure of webinar would like to run, 90 minutes or so. It may stretch beyond that, and it may it may be less than 90 also. Don't just panic about it. However, yes, we will take question and answers about also, which may definitely stretch beyond 30 minutes too. But none of the questions will be remain unanswered. So just be rest assured. Your PPTs, your recordings, your certificates will be delivered on your registered email ID. All right. So I would like to request one thing to you, and that is regarding the last point. Just don't panic related to your video quality. It's getting blur, or it's not getting visible. So please, increase your YouTube video quality to 720p. See, I'm not that good in technology, so please do it yourself. All right. So whatever mentioned clarifications have been there given here, please do so. And please don't panic that the picture is not clear, the PPTs is not clear, anything, because eventually the PPT and recording will be given to you. So at this point in time, it's very important for you to listen to me, right? And also, please make sure that you note down your questions, because it might not be possible for me to handle the questions during these sessions. Okay. uh, at the end of the questions, I'll make sure, and I always make sure that I take all the questions. So please make sure that by the end of the session, I take all the questions, and I always take all the questions. But um, during the session, it will be difficult for me. Okay. So let me just begin with it. Okay. Mm, mm, just a second. Yeah, just give me a minute. All right. Okay. So this is what we are going to talk about. My first question is, I basically start my webinars with questioning to you all. So my point is that I hope that all of you know that research is a buzzword. Research is generally is a buzzword. We often hear clearly, with lot of people, from lot of teachers around us. Now the point is, do we really understand what exactly research is? Okay. Now according to me, research basically is when you when you, as in anybody who is interested. Now first of all, in my opinion, or I would like to give you a suggestion, please don't do research. I'll explain you what is research in just couple of minutes, but my suggestion is, please don't do research just because my friend is doing, or my cousin is doing, or my teachers are saying so. Please don't do that. When I say research, I meant to say that please don't do start with your any PhD. Particularly, I'm focusing, or I'm referring to PhD degree. Please don't start with PhD or any kind of research courses which will envelop, or which will take your another 2 3 years, just because somebody else is saying so. Please categorize your you know um, interest area in that. You, if you think that I'm really want to know something about, I'm really interested in it. If somebody is saying I'm not audible, am I audible to all? Can the team confirm me? I think I'm audible to many. Can I please, I'll just deliver a text. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, because otherwise my students say that I'm loud enough. Thank you so much. And all right. And my adjacent classes get disturbed sometimes, and I don't need a mic of a class addressing of 60 students, even though. All right. So the research basically, in a general layman in terms, I'm saying that when you are interrogating, when you are dwelling deep into one research aspect, one topic, of your interest, when you are exploring new aspects into it, when you are looking for new ideas into it, from that. Okay, now I'm not talking about, okay, fine, you are going for qualitative or quantitative. No, not that. Okay, fine, not, I'm not going to do that area. I am just focusing into that when you are going for dwelling deep into one aspect of idea or thought process, that is, this is not something which is bookish, or this is not something which is written in any journal or magazine or something, but this is a normal course of research. Okay, our aim is to find something which is not already been done by previous researchers. That's what we do in research. Now that's why I give you a piece of advice, that because this is one such aspect wherein you are going to invest your coming areas, where you are going to invest your coming years. So if you are not interested, if you are not fully focused into this, spend some time to understand it first, then start doing it. Okay, now let's come back to what exactly is a research. Now research basically is, as I told you, that when you have a consideration about a particular topic. Now that particular topic can be any. Now many questions come to me, my students say that, ma'am, um, that particular study has been done in France, can we do it? Now they come for when they want to do in their MBA project, or they want to start with a PhD thesis or something like that. Now my questions says that, why can't you do that? Now the characteristics, the sample characteristics, the situational, the environmental situational, what was there in France was completely different was what we hear in Dubai or in UAE, right? So variable aspect would be different, right? So basically, when we talk about research, now research primarily deals into when you are talking about any aspect or any problem. It may not look like a problem to you at first go. It not necessarily has to be a problem. It you sometimes somebody calls it a gap. Now what is gap needs to be understood. A gap can be any area which is not being previously addressed. Okay, now somebody worked on a particular aspect of, let's say for example, consumer behavior. Okay, now consumer behavior has been understood by, preferences, attitude, income, knowledge, and then lifestyle, where is the demographic characteristics of the consumer, many. But when you are interested in consumer behavior, you understood that nobody has studied consumer behavior from the perspective of the educational background, particularly of consumers. That's a gap, right? That's a gap. Now on this, that to identify or to study the influence of educational background of consumer on their purchasing decision, this can be a topic for your study. Now how you will do the literature review, how will you collect the data and all that, this will further be looked upon. So basically research tells you to pick up an aspect which is actually a gap, which is actually a problem, and then you start talking about it. All right, all right. Now, when we talk about further into it, it is a systematic inquiry. Now, when we say systematic inquiry, it is not just a random process. Okay, so it's not a random process. What does it mean? That means you are not just doing haywire, that let's do this, let's no. First you'll decide your topic, then your title, your literature review, and then your which kind of research you want to do, the type of research you'll decide, and then further processing will be do will be done. Okay, so it is a process, it's a systematic process. All right, which is again of two types: inductive and deductive. Okay, now when we talk about inductive research and when we talk about further deductive research, what exactly they are. Okay, so let's talk about each one of them. Okay, now when we talk about inductive research, now simply just, you know, understand them. Inducting research means inducing something. You are basically you are trying to creating something. While when you talk about deductive research, there are already theories are there. You are already, you are verifying the already established theory. Okay, so now what kind of research we do when we are going for inductive approaches? Primarily, when you are doing for inductive kind of approaches, you go for qualitative approaches. Okay, because you are trying to create something, you are establishing theories, so you want to understand the logics behind, you want to understand the reasoning behind, you want to explore. Okay, so qualitative research gives you more idea. Okay, the reasoning behind, the whys behind it. Then when you talk about the deductive methods, wherein in that you primarily go for the quantitative analysis. Okay, then if this is happening, this will happen, this is happening, this is happening. Okay, so in inductive research you explore. Okay, and in deductive research you basically verify what is already established. Okay, all right. See, please clear your or enhance your video quality. And regarding your audio, please, this is something I think your own device issue. I really can't do anything from my end. And related to your video, you'll have to do increase little bit about that. What do you call as YouTube video quality? All right. Okay. Now, further understanding about what is research. When we talk about research, research is primarily you must have heard about a term called hypothesis. If you don't understand it, don't worry. We will be understanding it. What is hypothesis? You try to test a hypothesis. For the time being, just understand that hypothesis is an assumption. It may or may not be true. Just understand this much till now. So, hypothesis testing, in order to test the hypothesis, research is being conducted. One more thing to be noted here: every research would be having hypothesis, it's not necessary. All right, there are many questions I have come across that every research should be having hypothesis. Not necessary, not at all necessary. Okay, again, why we do hypothesis? Because when we are uh, conducting research and when we are doing research on a particular topic, so there is a vast body of knowledge present, there are ample of findings present. So in order to gather those findings, in order to substantiate those findings, we conduct those researches. Okay, and then we combine those findings in a separate report format, and that report is sometimes called as our project or our what do you call as thesis, dissertation, synopsis is a precise from though, so whatever your university may call it as. All right, okay. Now, very important, please focus on priority problems. Now when I say priority problems, your problem statement, whatever your research uh, has the problem statement. Okay, whatever your problems statement is there, that has to be very precise. So let's say for example you want to understand that when an individual buy a real estate property. Okay, one is for rental, one is for their own residential property purposes. Okay, so what are the factors behind each purchase? Simple. So the problem statement is that to uncover, okay, the problem is that the factors influencing the purchasing behavior behind the residential real estate properties of consumers are not known, or any other thesis, whatever topic you have. So please be very precise in your problem areas when you are going for any research. Okay. Okay. Second is your researches should be very systematic. Now, when I say systematic, what I meant to be here is whatever university you are registered with, whatever university you are, registered or working with, every university they give you the structure for their dissertation. That is one thing. Second thing is whatever journal you are aiming at to publish their work with, that journal also will give you a proper format to write their paper, to write your paper into that format. So please kindly follow that structure. Do not deviate from that. Okay, so there is a set structure. So every research has to be systematic. You can't do that, you are putting up literature at the end and then conclusion. And it may sounds naive to you, but yes, it's true. It happens that many a times researchers do not pay attention to the structure of research. And it's not that systematic, that research should be systematic in terms of writing it, but research should be systematic while conducting also. Okay, you just can't straight jump to data collection. First you should have done your thorough literature review. So I'm not saying just you need to be systematic while writing your research. No, you need to be systematic even while conducting your research. So data collection should be there. Definitely your literature you can review or you can add it in till the time you are done with your study, but literature review is the first step which you need to do at the first hand. Okay, so that order of system while conducting the research should be followed. Okay, now also the research should be logical. What I meant to be logical is that uh, whenever you are conducting any research, you may find that my idea of the research is very logical to me. I'll give you an example. Probably a couple of months back, somebody came to me that we would like to work on an entrepreneurship project as in the study project, research project, and so idea is there. We said, okay, fine, we'll do it. But my question was, what is the logic behind it? If there is a entrepreneur, okay, the person who wanted to conduct the research was that his idea was that the entrepreneur should have a thorough knowledge, right, of that technical aspect. They wanted to work on that, that if any entrepreneur is there and if they want to, whenever the entrepreneur wants to develop any technical prototype, the entrepreneur should have all the technical knowledge. But my question was that if you want to conduct a research that all the entrepreneur they do not have the technical knowledge, is it good or bad? My question was, how we are bothered about it if the entrepreneur, even they does not have a technical knowledge throughout, they have a fair good understanding that what is happening, they can make a team, right? An entrepreneur can make a team. So they want to understand that whether a project will fail or will be succeeded if the entrepreneur will be having technical knowledge or not. But my question was that even if the entrepreneur is having technical knowledge, those entrepreneurial ventures also gets fail. So why to waste time in such research where there is no knowledge, no logic? So whenever you have an idea, not necessarily every research idea is fruitful to be done. That's what I want to say. And to whom to get checked it with? You may check it with only your peers and colleagues, and definitely who are working with their supervisors, your supervisors. Okay. Okay. The research should be reductive. This means, yes, your own findings should be available to others so that your repetition should be avoided. In simple language, you cannot hide your findings. One thing, definitely you have done your research in order to be published, in order to be made available to others. Second thing, it should not be done similar kind of research so that similar findings should not be repeated by some other researchers. Okay. The research should be replicable. Now, here in this aspect, is what I meant is here the example which I said that, like if some research is being done in France, similar research can be done in UAE. Yes, this means the research nature is replicable. Now, the scope of research should be like this, that the findings of this research may be found out whenever there is a new environment, new respondents, new characteristics of the respondents of the sample. These should be your basic research characteristics. Okay, let's move on. So these are furthermore your characteristics of your research. I'll quickly take on this so that we'll quickly go on to qualitative and quantitative types of research. The research should be generative, so that you are actually not just sticking on to one aspect, that whatever your research questions were, you're answering one. No, when, let's say for example, I am reviewing your research, so I should be able to find out, okay, fine, this particular ABC research is elaborative in nature. However, sometimes the technical researches, the more focused researches may not be of this nature. So please don't get confused that may every research is should be of generative nature. It's not be like that. The researches which are highly specific, the researches which are highly technical in nature may not be of generative nature. Okay, so just be okay with it. Not every researches can be of generative nature. Action oriented means, please, this the solutions should be which you are giving it, the findings of your study should be implementing. It's not like you have just the finding should be practical. If you are saying that you have conducted a study on employee motivation, and these are the solution which you are giving to motivate the employees, so anyone who is picking up your study should be able to implement your solutions. So it's not like that the study was just for the sake of to complete it. Okay, the researcher should follow integrated multidisciplinary approach. Again, I would say that it is not applicable many a time for all the researchers. Management, social sciences, humanities, all these can be done, but not for all. Okay, now research should be participatory. That means whosoever is getting impacted by it should be involved. Again, here is a condition, not every research can have this characteristics. Now this should be there, relatively timely, time bound should be there. Research is not like, okay fine, we are doing it, let it take its own time. No, simple should be there. I'll just give you a very live example. Couple of days, like 3 days back, I was reviewing one MBA dissertation from management only. Topic was very simple, but inside the dissertation, I could understand what the student wanted to write. It was so integrated, every all the possible kind of literature, all the possible kind of methodology, everything was there. But still, the most complicated language, the most complicated structure, everything under the universe related to research was there in the dissertation. So research is, we are not doing it for ourselves, we are doing it for others. So others should understand. It's not like that the pharmacist and the doctor's relationship. The doctor has written and the pharmacist need to understand. No. Here everybody needs to understand. Right? So please make it simple, crisp, and time bound. Give yourself a deadline. That's it. All right. Okay, now quickly taking out the purpose of research. Now, the purpose of research basically, the first is exploratory, and here the quick tip is to just take the one word. Let me just make you do that. Explore. The word is explore. Exploratory research basically, you know when you are trying to exploring the problem, you are trying to understand the problem, exploring, understanding the problem, in-depth research is required. That is exploratory research, exploratory purpose of research. Explanatory research, the word here is explain. Okay, now here in explain is why this is happening. This is happening because of this, so cause and effect, this will happen, so this will happen. Okay, so explanatory research deals you majority on the basis of experiments and gives you a why of research questions. Okay, now next is your descriptive research. I think descriptive makes very quick sense. That is, descriptive means when you are expanding the knowledge, describing. So basically, you are telling about the problem, how this is happening, what is happening. You're not getting into the reasoning of it, but you're describing the all the aspect of it. Okay. Okay, now here are the three types of researches. So research approach in exploratory is unstructured because you are primarily exploring it. In descriptive is structured. In explanatory is highly structured. Okay, in exploratory you conduct the research by asking research questions. In descriptive, again research questions. However, in explanatory, you know when you are talking about the maybe the video for a slight of seconds will get blurred, just understand me. When you are asking about the reasoning of it, why this happened, so then you make use of hypothesis. In hypothesis, I'm just giving you a quick glimpse again. In hypothesis, you try to understand, or you try to probably assume the relationships between two variables, independent and dependent, right? So that's what you do in explanatory research, that because of this variable, this happens. Because of this variable, this happens. Okay? Similarly, now when do you conduct exploratory research? Early stages of decision making, when you are trying to understand the research. In descriptive research, later stages of, when you have, when you are at the towards the end of decision making. Similarly for the explanatory research. Okay, now comes your research methods. Now I'll give you very very layman kind of examples. See, we all have seen if not all, majority of us have seen a house during its construction. Okay, so when our houses get constructed, so we have that plan. Okay, that how we'll move ahead, what kind of architecture will be done, and what will be the timeline, and how the um, mm, what do you call as the services will be hired and everything. So the entire layout, the plan will go. Similarly, in research, this plan is methodology. How will we conduct our research? Okay. Now, when we call it out research methods, the method is those, like I'll again get back to your house construction, is what material will be used, what tools will be used. If you are talking about the material to be used in the house, what kind of fans, what kind of lighting would be used, that is called research methods. Okay, so how do we use those? According to the plan. Similarly, we use the research methods according to the methodology, according to the plan. Now, this plan of our house construction has an opportunity to fix a fan here. Fix it. Similarly, the research methodology plan has the quantitative methods of data selection. We'll go by quantitative collection method. Okay, this is called research methods. So all these strategies which we are going to use, the tools, the techniques, the methods, the choices, this is called as research methods. And always make sure that just mentioning the research methods, that this study will be using this study will be using this, just does not justify. It does not make sense. Justifying the methods, that if I'm using quantitative, then why? If I'm using qualitative, then why? That makes sense. So, whosoever specifically is doing a PhD research, I would say that whosoever is doing qualitative is doing qualitative, or whosoever is doing quantitative, then you should be very well prepared with the answers. Or even in your vivas, these questions can be asked, that why didn't you conducted these studies in a quantitative research methods or in a qualitative research method? So all these answers should be prepared, and justification should be given in the dissertation as well. Okay, so you should be ready with it. Now the point is, next is that when we talk about qualitative, quantitative, what exactly these are? Okay, let's understand them one by one. When we talk about qualitative, okay, qualitative research methods or qualitative research methodology primarily aim at exploring about your opinion, exploring about your behavior. It gives you the data not into numerical forms. It's not just into a numerical form. It gives you elaborated data. So let's say I'm talking about, let's take an example wherein the researcher wanted to conduct a study on cybersecurity. Okay. Now, the researcher want to understand that how the universities can play an important role in strengthening the cybersecurity structure in any country. Assuming, again, I'm repeating, that how the government, the university of any country can play a role, important role in strengthening the cybersecurity structure in any countries. Okay, so here the researcher would like to understand the study from the qualitative perspective. How, what exactly the steps should be taken, why the cybersecurity structure should be strengthened. So in order to answer all these things, in order to get the how and why, the study should be qualitative in nature, right? So similarly, the corresponding type of data collection method would be chosen. Okay, accordingly, uh, the respondents will be interviewed, or whatever type of data collection method he or she would be chosen. So elaborative responses he will get. That means the data would not be that cybersecurity data should be strengthened or not, yes or no. No, this will be not be the data. The data would be non numerical. Okay, so when you talk about, I'm just explaining you in a very simpler form, I'm not giving you any bookish definition. Why? Because I think that many of you would like to understand qualitative and quantitative difference. So I'm just giving you a very simplest explanation so that all of you can understand. Okay, so qualitative research gives you the why behind the reasoning. Okay, that employs motivation, why employee motivation plays an important role in their productivity, or a study on understanding the role of employee motivation in their productivity. Now, in this study, depending upon the objective, now obviously your objective, that we will also understand what our objective is. So depending upon the objective, you decide the research methods, what kind of research method you'll go for. So understand here, when you're talking about qualitative data, qualitative research, it is elaborative in nature. So you being a researcher, you get a better understanding, you get the better connection between the various aspects. You can connect between different, oh fine, this is the logical sequences, okay fine, this happens because this is why the first event happened. That's how you get enhanced detailed knowledge in qualitative research methods. Okay, now these are basically the methods of data collection. Primarily, when you can take the interviews, you can actually go for focus group also, wherein you focus group also, it's a kind of interview only, wherein you are giving the same questions to a group of people, and so instead of going people differently, you are getting their opinions at one point in time. Okay, so you can observe also, you can do researches also, or case study researches. So that means you can focus on one organization or one or two organization. Okay, so all these, when you talk about this kind of research, so here you get to know that mm, you're getting the elaborative data. Okay, so like for example, in ethnographic research also, you collect the data from observations or interviews. Okay, primarily in your social sciences, ethnographic research is primarily used in social sciences. Okay, in observation, you just observe your respondents, don't disturb them when you are not participating. You can participate also. So when you're observing them, so you get to know their real behavior, you get to know the real behavior, what exactly they are behaving, what their real behavior is. So that's qualitative researches. Now if I take you to quantitative side of research, now quantitative side of research is primarily, it is numerical in nature first of all. Okay, now for example, if I give you that, I'll give you an example. Like if somebody wants to conduct a research that, uh, if, let's say for example, if you feel you are discriminated at your workplace, there is a biasness at your workplace, so you want to identify what are those factors. So you want to identify the factors causing discrimination or biasness at workplace. So here you are not basically going for the reasoning that why discrimination is happening. No, you are simply interested in the fact that you're simply interested in identifying the fact that these are the factors which causes discrimination. That's it. Okay, so this kind of data can be ranked. For example, now you distributed the questionnaire, and out of basis of the questionnaire you got that age is that factor according to which people find that people who are above 40, they are discriminated more. So age is that factor which is ranked first in discrimination basis. So data which you get from qualitative research, you can rank them. You can rank them. Okay, so now I'll give you another example. Now if you want to understand, like, if you want to understand the reasoning behind that why people feel that they feel that they are being discriminated on the basis of age, then in that case it will be qualitative. So then you will interview them. You'll have to ask them open-ended questions. Okay, if you want to understand their attitude, okay, if you want to understand their attitude, like for example, you just want to understand the preferences of people towards certain products. Quantitative research, simple. Okay, all right. So these kind of researches you can put across in your quantitative research methods. These we just understand. Correlation research is wherein you are trying to understand the relationship between the two variables. Okay, survey research, we all know that when we conduct the survey, that which exactly is the factor which is quite popular amongst it, or which is quite preferred, or which topped among the respondents when you would like to. It's basically on the basis of ethnographic research, when you want to extract a specific data from the respondents. Okay, okay. Now there is a mix of both also. Now here, I hope till now it's a very easy language I'm telling you, because in books, for the tougher, you may refer to the books. Definitely, they're very amazing books also available. But my aim is to make you understand in a very easy language. Here, specifically, this explanation I'm going giving it for PhD people and those who are writing their journal papers. Okay, mixed methods of research is one of the most preferred research methods, and it's definitely used by many researchers as well. Reason being, you understood that in quantitative you get the data which you can rank, which you can measure. Okay, but why that ranking is happening, so why that measurement is coming, so that reasoning we are not getting. That reasoning we are getting in qualitative. Okay, now what if we can we can get the logic also in the same result, in the same research, the research will be fantastic, right? Mixed methods gives you that opportunity. So if I say so that I feel I am getting discriminated on the basis of my age in my workplace. Okay, age is the factor identified as one of the factor contributing to discrimination. Quantitative. Now, why I feel I'm getting discriminated? Qualitative. Combine mixed research. That's it. No rocket science. So I feel people buy residential property in Dubai less as compared to they opt more for rental properties, quantitative. Why is separate? Because they think that they don't have much income, or visa they need to apply, or family is there, they're living here alone, and so and so. Let's combine them. You get a concrete study in one research. Now, howsoever, why I said that, specifically for PhD studies, why I said so, because definitely it takes time. This kind of studies take time, because you need to conduct quantitative data, you need to collect that, you need to collect qualitative data, and you need to then analyze both of them, and then analysis and then presentation of that data, findings, analysis of the data, interpretation of the data takes time. So whosoever is considering the research based on mixed research methods should focus also on the time horizon for their study. Okay, but yes, mixed research method is one of the most preferred research methods by scholars. Okay, now this is a complete combination for mixed research methods. So you can go for quantitative first, then qualitative, which is conversion, parallel design, then compare, then interpretation. In explanatory, you can first go quantitative, then you can go for qualitative, then interpretation. In exploratory, first you do qualitative, then you do the quantitative. Okay, so this is also you need to mention specifically those who are doing their PhDs, specifically for them. Please, you will definitely receive the slides. If anyone of using mixed research methods, so whether you are going for conversion, parallel design, explanatory, or exploratory, please make sure to mention it. In conversion, you do quantitative and qualitative parallelly. In explanatory, you do quantitative first. In exploratory, you do qualitative first. Okay. Okay. Now, what is research methodology? I told you this is the architectural plan of our research. Okay, how you are preparing your research, what kind of research methods you'll be using, what is your research objectives, your aims, whether your research aims and objectives are your aims and objectives should be according to your methods. Alignment should be there. Many a times, all those who are academicians here, you must be wondering, because we offer we many a times we find many theses objective clearly says that the data collection method should be so and so, and when we reach to methodology, this is. Now, data collection method definitely okay, fine, can be changed. But if you are trying to find out correlation, if you're trying to find out relationship between two variables, and there is no correlation in the analysis, then so I always suggest that please, whenever you are going to apply any kind of methods, please make sure to go back to your research objectives. Okay. Now, so much of discussion about research methodology. So when you talk about research methodology, just understand it's a blueprint. Okay, how, what, why, what rules, how you're going to do that, it's all that. All right, and it's those sounds theoretical to you. Okay, it does those sound theoretical to you, but significance of your own research methodology, that why I have chosen this methods, why this methodology is being followed, why this particular method is being followed, why this particular methodology is being followed, needs to be justified. needs to be clearly stated. So in order to be in order to get clarity in your research methodology, I would request you to first step is to be very clearly understand your topic, that what exactly you want to do. Checked. Then do a thorough literature review. Without that, you would not be able to formulate your research question. You'll not be able to formulate your research objectives. Things will be back to zero. It may sound theory. Many people will say that it is not practical. It is not content is not practical enough. But for those who are struggling with methodology, I know I can understand their pain. First, decide your topic. This is what I want to work on. If you don't want to, or if you are still not able to find it, that what I want to work on, go for literature. For that also, I will give you a slight help, that go for your last 4 to 5 years, not more than that. Your interest areas, researches. Okay, your interest area, I'm saying 4 to 5 year maximum, not more than that. Then go for their recommendations. Pick the ideas from there. That Pick the ideas from there. What exactly they want to say to other researchers. Okay. Now, on the basis of those idea, read to the literature. Okay. Then elaborate on that literature. Understand. Then you find the gap, that uh, what areas are not being explained. Okay. Then formulate your research questions, that these questions I would like to work on. Narrow them in research objectives. Okay. Then decide your methodology. If you just want to focus on the data, you will clearly understand. You will clearly understand. Once you will identify these research questions, you yourself will understand. Like, for example, I'll give you one example. I want to understand I want to understand what factors people consider why buying product from Zara. Okay. What factors? Price, quality, proximity of the store. That's it. My first question. My second question is, my second question is, I want to explore or to understand the or to investigate the what do you call that, the contribution or perception of consumers towards Zara. Now when I say that I want to understand the perception of consumer towards Zara, so I can't collect data on perception of consumer towards Zara through the quantitative data. I want to have qualitative data. So my first question, my first objective wants me to collect quantitative data. My second question wants me to collect qualitative data. Combining both became mixed research. Simple, very simple. Okay. So if you are not getting that what kind of research methods uh, methods I should go for, then simply work on your research objectives, research questions. Research objectives are the main deciding factor for your methodology. Okay? All right. Now, these are the simple differences between methodology and methods. Methods are simple tools, and methodology is the plan, okay, which we have understood. Now, there are different aspects of research methodology. First is measurement objective, like your objectives. Now, as I was just talking about them, firstly, do not just make your life complicated by having endless objectives for you. Please don't do that. An ideal number of, see, I'm telling you again, I'm saying it is my opinion. Yours and your supervisor's opinion may differ than mine. An ideal research objective, number of research objective for a PhD thesis, for a PhD thesis, I'm saying, can be 4 to 5. Okay. When it comes to research questions, again, can be between 3 to 5. Okay. Now, why I say so, I have a proper justification for it. As many objectives you will have, obviously you will have to answer each objectives. You will have to, your thesis is, the aim of your thesis is to achieve these objectives. So as many objectives you will have as much as elongated research. So having 6, 7, 8 objectives in your study does not make sense, right? This does not make sense. So, ideal research objectives, in my opinion, 4 to 5 research questions, 3 to 5, subject to your what do you call as your research supervisor. And when it comes to masters, for master students, I always advise and guide them. For my case, 3, not more than 3, because you have specific guidelines, you have specific time limit. Okay, so don't go into this trouble that how many objectives you should have, and more so ever, your objective should be very clear. When I read your objective, I should understand that the statement tells you what, explains you what, and also one very important aspect which I was about to forget. Your objective should clearly reflect that what you are willing to measure. Now that measurement depends, you're going for qualitative or quantitative. Clearly, whether you're going for qualitative, whether you're going for quantitative, which research you are going for, that will define the language of your objective also. So don't have endless objectives in your research, and the research, your problem statement, your research questions, your research objectives, this is the general normal logic is being followed. Okay. Okay, then another thing is your data collection. So data collection basically is generally is that information on which you will work. In simple, in my language, I understand data collection as the information on which you will work. Okay, the primary data and the secondary data. Primary data which you will collect, the first hand data, mota mota. Secondary data is which is already available in the form of literature. Both the data are very important. So data, why it is important? Because you are primarily going to answer your objectives on the basis of your data. Another thing, which many researchers commit a mistake. Don't do fabrication of data. Now, what is fabrication of data here is that, okay, fine, I need to collect a sample size of 120. 80, I have got the responses. Let me fill the questionnaire on my own, and let me fill the 40 on my own. I have understood what kind of responses I'm going to get, and I'll fill it on my own. That is called fabrication of data, and that you are cooking up the data on yourself. How you are so sure that the 40 which are remaining will give the same trend or same answers which the other 80 has given? Here you commit the biggest mistake. Here you will find that your research can turn out upside down. Okay, so when you are choosing the data collection method, so simple, if you are, let's say, if you want to judge the attitude of some respondents of something, like preferences towards someone, so some simple close-ended questionnaire will do. Simple, give the options, preferences will be given, and done. Okay. Okay, now survey is basically is being given wherein you are trying to reach out a lot of um, people, and you want to get the information from them, and depending upon your methodology chosen, you conduct in various methods. Okay, now reporting plan is how you are trying to conduct your research, report your research. And this reporting research is generally, it is suggested to you with the body of like if it's a university, or you want to deliver it in the form of PPT, or any blueprint is there, so whatever blueprint is there given to you, please stick to that. Okay, now the difference between quantitative and qualitative research methodology, I think somebody asked also, so please pay attention here. And research questions always come first. Okay, so quantitative and qualitative. um, Quantitative, as I think I have made you very clear in the previous discussions, that quantitative is more about your numbers, statistical numbers, and data collect in the form of numbers, and qualitative is more about your elaborated data. Okay, and yes, in quantitative, your sample size should be high. That is to be noted here. All those who are conducting, or who are willing to conduct, or who are planning to conduct the um, quantitative research in future, please make sure that your sample size should be high in case of quantitative research. When it comes to quality, yeah, this particular slide would not be clear. Please bear with me. I am talking. I'll show you the slides. Please wait. No worries. Your quantitative research demands you to have a large sample size. However, when it comes to qualitative research, minimum of at least 12 to 15 sample would be okay. However, in quantitative, you need to calculate the sample size, but you should have a large sample size. Okay, all right. And when it comes to data collection, you may have survey, experiments, observations, and your in qualitative, you may have interviews, you may have focus group, case studies. All right, and in analysis, in quantitative, you may go for quantitative analysis techniques, some tests. And in data analysis, for qualitative, you go for like content analysis, you go for thematic analysis, you go for narrative analysis, discourse analysis, all these analysis you go for. Okay, because you're analyzing the responses which has been given by the respondents. All right. Okay, this is further example which is between quantitative and qualitative research methods. I think this particular example will explain you more. Like, do you buy ice cream today? So, yes or no. Why do you buy ice cream? So, this aspects give you quantitative, and this aspects give you qualitative. Now, when you club both, like, it becomes mixed. That 67% respondents bought ice cream, and why they bought ice cream. Okay, so this gave you a mixed method. Now let's go for methodology for qualitative research. So there are a couple of approaches which you can follow when it comes to qualitative research. In case of grounded theory, um, the researcher, it again, like we have a lot of attendees here from different domains. So, like for example, somebody is doing history. So if they are interested in conducting their research on history, so they can collect the data on a topic, and they can conduct the research on an existing topic, and then they can go on. So that's called as grounded theory. In ethnographic, then they can be a part of research, like observations. They can be a part of groups. That's called ethnographic. Action research is when you are trying to actually drive down some social changes. There you introduce some interventions, you actually introduce some actions, you bring down some changes. Okay. Phenomenological research, we say that you are trying to investigate, you are trying to work upon a particular phenomena, you are trying to work upon people's experiences. Narrative research is, in simple tang language, what people said, the responses which you get, you narrate them, you explain them. That's what respondents said. Okay. Okay. Now these are like the qualitative research methods which we have just discussed, which we have already discussed. So I'm not taking much time on that. This is the analysis which we do in qualitative research. Okay. Okay, somebody's having audio issues, so please turn your. Okay, all right. When we talk about data analysis and qualitative research, so firstly, you need to prepare your data. Like you have conducted the interviews, so you have to organize your data. Like which uh, respondents gave which response to which questions. Organize it properly. Organization is very important. Then you need to review it. Like you'll find some common things. Okay, fine. Respondent 1 also talked about money as a motivating factor. Employee 3 also talked about the same. Fine. Employee 2 also talked about monetary benefits, not using same words but similar things also been used in their answers. Okay. Then on the basis of, once the pattern has been identified, you'll have to give them the codes, the similar patterns, identify the patterns, take them out. Then to those patterns you give them the codes. Then into those codes you you assign those codes to data. For example, in qualitative survey analysis, to each participant response you give the codes and then fill into the spreadsheet. Okay. Okay, now these are the various approaches for analysis. Like content analysis, when you are explaining or describing on the basis of common words. Thematic analysis, themes, not words, themes. Texture analysis, this is more of technical structure, text. Discourse analysis, you are talking about in particularly in context of communication and language. For each of the approach, I have given you the examples. Okay, so when you will receive these slides, you may refer for them for your further explanation. These are very clear. All right. Now, there are some ethical consideration also, which are very important. Please don't ignore them. The reason being, firstly, um, don't just view your research as just you are doing it just for your sake. Use it just for the sake of social change also. I'll tell you. Like for example, I guide students of DBA which are doing their DBA from a university in USA. So there, they universities, they pay very strong attention on how the particular studies, how the particular researches are contributing towards the business, towards the society. So, irrespective, whatever we have done in our research, we need to categorically add a chapter or into our defense that how our research is going to contribute into a society and the business. So, ethical consideration, no biasness should be there, no offensive language should be there, accurate s- fabrication of data. I told you, no fabrication of data should be there. And if you do, your analysis will be tempered 110%. 100, I'm sure many of you will be say that I have done, it does not happen, but it does happen. It does happen here and there. It does happen. Consistency should be there. Language consistency should always be there. Okay. Now, this methodology for quantitative. So when you talk about methodology for quantitative, in survey research, you ask the questions from a lot of people. So basically here you are trying to gather the information from multiple groups so that you can have compare also. Comparative researches can also be done with the help of collecting data from survey. In cross-sectional surveys, what you do is, um, you know, you conduct the surveys, collect the data from a particular sample at a given time. Okay. In researches, in longitudinal surveys, here you are trying to understand the behavior, you are trying to understand the resources from a longer time. So in cross sectional, you conducted today, you are done. In longitudinal, today, after 3 months, after 5 months, after 7 months. So it's a repeated one with the same response. Okay. In cross sectional, in survey, the difference is the same variable were evaluated at given time in cross sectional. In longitudinal, different time at different variables at different interval. Okay. Now another in quantitative, in correlation in, see, very simple, understand like that. In correlation, so you are trying to understand the relation, how one variable, understand the variable. What are variable are those elements which you are understanding in your research. Simple. Okay. One is dependent, one is independent. Okay. Dependent and independent, the name says it all. Dependent means the variable which is dependent on other, and that other is we don't know. Okay, fine. That other is independent variable. So if the independent variable is changing, the dependent is automatically changing. Independent variable is independent, it is not changing by changes anybody else. But when it is changing, the dependent variable is changing. Okay. So in correlation research, you are trying to observe the changes. If one changes, how it creates the changes in another. I have given the example, like for instance, the equation between fame and money. So if fame increases, whether money comes or not. Okay. All right. Another is causal comparative research. So now this kind of quantitative research is used by researchers to cause and effect. So when one variable is dependent on another one, but not manipulated. So the impact of drugs on a teenager. So if the teenager is taking the drugs, what is happening? If somebody is getting good education, then what is happening? Okay, the influence of one on another. In earlier one there was, are they related or not? Here we know that they are related, but what are their relation? If one is cause, if one is there, the relation is there, but how it is influencing the another one. Okay. Okay, experimental research is basically, uh, here you are trying to conduct the experiments. You are trying to prove or disprove, like already theories are there, so you are trying to test those theories. Okay, and whether they are true or they are not. Okay, now see, we talked about data collection. To whom to collect the data from? People, sample, respondents. How do we collect the data from? Sampling, the process of identifying the sample from your population. Like, for example, I want to conduct a research on all the people who are using or who are using Apple iPhone. Okay, so all the people who are using iPhone are my population, but it is practically not possible, right? So what I will do is I will choose a sample. So sample basically that representative fragment of population which has all the characteristics of the population. So it is a it's a portion of your population. Okay, so you do it by probability sampling and non-probability sampling. In probability sampling, every respondent or every sample has an equal chance to get part of your sample. Okay, understood? In non probability sampling, it is not the case. In non, understand, non probability. Now, when you do the research, you have to explain what is your sampling technique, why did you go for it, justify it. That's also there. Okay. No, these are your random sampling. Now, random sampling is most common probability used sampling. Random sampling is randomly you choose anybody. Systematic random sampling is I'm taking every second person. Stratified random sampling is you create groups of people, male, female, up to 10, up to 15, like that. Okay. Quota random sampling is with specific number per group, like 15 people will be there in group, 16 people there in group, out of that we will choose. Cluster is when you divide the population. Okay, in non-random sampling is convenience is when I'm choosing my sample as per my convenience. Okay, purposive sampling is when you are choosing the sample on the basis of their characteristics. Like, find for example, I want to interview the marketing manager. Okay, so I can't interview anyone. I want to interview only who is at the position of marketing manager. Okay, snowball is, okay, I want to interview student, or I want to take data, or I want to distribute the questionnaire to the students. So if you know student, okay, tell me more, they tell you. So it's like snowball. Okay, volunteer is anybody who wish to be your sample. Okay, now come your data analysis. SWOT analysis is understanding your strength, weaknesses, opportunities. Conjoint analysis, when you want to understand that how people understand their complicated purchase decisions. Okay. Cross tabulation is where you want to understand the relationships patterns. So that you do the cross tabulation. So, or anybody who would like to understand the relationship between the variables, they can do the cross tabulation. TERFs is basically, do you want to understand the where the reach of a particular communication is being done? Then you do the TERF analysis. Then come hypothesis. Hypothesis, as I told you earlier, hypothesis is a statement, assumption, unless and until it is being tested. Like a, a student with a student going to tuition will have positive results. Okay, or a student a tuition will have positive impact on students grade. Let's assume, okay, students tuition will have a positive. Now whether tuition will have a positive impact or not, that we don't know, we have assumed. Okay, that we need to test. So one is alternate hypothesis, which is showing the relationship between two variables. One is null hypothesis, which is showing no relationship. Student tuition has no relationship on their grades. So in your studies, in your research, you test these hypotheses, whether they are true or they are not, on the basis of data collection, data analysis. The results which you get, so if you say that the majority of the people agree that yes, my child has got good grades once they have started going to tuition, so yes, you will say that yes. In results, you'll say alternate hypothesis will be accepted. Okay, now this is very important. Just don't mention the methodology just for the sake of it. Justify it, why you have chosen it, justify it. If you have taken qualitative, why not quantitative? If you've taken quantitative, well, like vice versa. Okay, please mention limitation also of your research. No research can be without limitation and weaknesses. Please do so. Okay, okay, now there are some quick tips for your strong methodology. Firstly, um, whatever research methodology you choose, please follow proper practices for that. Methods, justification, analysis, everything. Okay, your research question, research objective, and your research methods should be aligned. Okay, how the chosen methodology is filling the gap which you have identified from the literature. All proper technical justification for your methodology should be given. No reviewer should get a chance that why you had just chosen this. Okay, and your methodology is that chapter which needs proper strengthening when it comes to writing part. Okay, all right, now this time for the questions. All right, okay. Seema, research questions are different. Yes, they are different. You derive your objectives from research questions. No, Aviral, no, they're not same. How can they be same? Hypotheses are assumptions. Research proposals. Okay, research proposal basically is that it's a conform is a short form of your dissertation which you prepare before starting off your dissertation study, and which you present before beginning your research, that in future I am planning to do all these things. You haven't started anything. So research from proposal is a concise from anything, everything, like proposed title is this, proposed methodology is this, proposed data collection technique will be this. Okay, that is your research proposal. Okay. Thank you. My topic will be related to problems faced by small industry. Okay, now see, anybody who's asking me about on the basis of topic, I'll tell you one thing. Like for example, Ms. Panda has said that a problem faced by small industries and role of small industries in economic growth. Now I'll tell you, ma'am, you have said two different topics. First of all, I will suggest you, my personal suggestion would be, you, this topic will be too cumbersome for you. If you are going, even if you're going for PhD thesis, this is a very detailed topic. You can actually take either one topic, like problem faced by small industries, or you can take by role of small industry in economic growth. Role of small industry, a study conducted on role of small industries in economic growth itself is a very detailed topic. So I think second topic, going by qualitative research or rather mixed research method, first you identify the factors through which they are contributing and then how much they are contributing. I think that would be good. Mixed method, you can go for it. That's my personal opinion. Second part of your topic would do wonders. Okay, what should be the research proposal contain? See, when it comes to content of research proposal, it is always depends upon to which university you are presenting to. So they give you a research structure. Generally, it has the background, literature, objectives, methodology. In methodology, they ask you research methods, data collection, tentative findings, and conclusion. Thank you so much. How to write thesis? Very nice. How to write thesis? Thesis writing is a journey, dear. It takes time. Literature review, methodology, conclusion. It's an year long. It's हिंदी में एक शब्द तपस्या, ये एक तपस्या है. Okay, I'll still give you an answer. How to write thesis is, I'm assuming that you have done your research. Okay, so once you're done your research, conclude, take all your information, your literature, your everything takes with you. Start writing the chapters parallelly. Don't think that I write first chapter differently. That's what I did. Start your writing your chapters parallelly. Then you will find it easy. Okay. How one can find, read it, Mr. Sudhanshu. You'll have to go for literature review, you'll have to go for literature, and then see, identifying the literature gap is when you read through it. So you'll have to read on the variables, you'll have to understand their variables. No study will give you that this is a gap, but you'll have to understand that which study is focusing on which variable and which variable is not focused. Then you will get the idea that which is the gap. How can the presentation be done on methodology part? Okay, when you are presenting a PhD presentation, go for which methodology you are offering, going for data collection. How did you do? How did you go for sampling? What is your sample size? How did you calculate your sample? And what is your sample characteristics? Then you go for sample data analysis technique. And this is your, I'm not saying data findings, I'm not saying, and which technique you use for data analysis. This dissertation topic is a big issue. Yes, dissertation topic selection is a big issue. So I will suggest that whichever area of topic is your choice, your interest, आपको जो पसंद है, whatever you like, whatever your views finance, start reading about them. Take some magazines, take some newspapers. If you're not interested in reading big papers, start reading from them. You may understand. Thank you everybody, thank you. What are the ethical exits for a clinical research? See, everybody, I think, do not fabricate the data, especially for the clinical research, or do not fabricate the data as a major work, and justify your research methodology. Yes. Easiest methodology to write thesis in marketing management. Oh, ma'am, please provide objective answer. Easiest methodology, very tough. I can tell you the tough one, Aviral. Mixed one is a time consuming one. Easiest one, basically, see, I'll tell you. Uh, you yourself decide. I'll tell you both the things. Qualitative takes less time to collect the data. Quantitative takes more time to collect the data. But qualitative takes more time in analyzing the data than quantitative. Understand, decides. Research question, research objective. I understood. I explained you. They are different. It's essential to know all the variables in title of the research No, all the variables need not to be mentioned in the title. No. How to select a topic? Good, very good. I just answered this on the basis of your interest. Uh, Vajrapani, I just answered this is different. Which research is useful in medical, quantitative or qualitative? I think most of the time in medical you go for qualitative. Uh, how to start with clinical research work? You tell me your area of interest, then only we can. In what way we can add messages when we are using survey method? See, you can go for you can add both the kind of questions, open ended and close ended, in your survey method. Then one can go for it. So if you're conducting survey method, so have one interview also along with it, one with survey, then mixed method can be accommodated. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. What kind of information, Sonali, you would want? uh Namrata, sometimes what happen is depends upon the area which you are going for. Sometimes it may take 100 papers, you may not understand the gap. Sometimes even 10 papers you may understand the gap. It depends upon the area which you are taking. Okay. Okay, my topic is critical study of grading subject at secondary school level. Okay, so what type of mixed research design, please? So definitely, mixed research design would be better. Would be better since you are doing critical study. So you'll be doing analysis also. You'll be giving critical analysis also. So you will be identifying the factors and you will be giving why they contribute. So I think mixed research methods would be going. Proposal topics and you objectives using, see, proposal is different, objective is different. Proposal you write according to the university structure. Okay. In plant diversity, which methods of quantitative analysis mostly used? Depends upon your objectives. Should one choose action research because it may land one in job? No, Aviral, it's not compulsory. It's not compulsory. See, during the PhD, I'll tell you, at least two to three publication needs to be done, or conferences, depending upon your university guidelines. Again, I'm telling you. Otherwise, focus on thesis writing. However, please fulfill your PhD guidelines also, because they require you to attend certain number of conferences, and your paper publication should be there, at least two minimum. I know that in India. So rest you'll have to confirm your supervisor. See, in exploratory research design, as the word says, explore. So basically, like you said, that critical in your case, Mr. Tawar, your will be not exploratory, your will be explanatory. In exploratory, you are talking about a problem, you're talking about a conceptual problem which you are exploring. You are exploring the problem. In your case, it will be explanatory, not much of exploratory at all. You're interested to analyze correlation between blood meto and cardiac health. My relationship, Dr. Vasant, my understanding in medical health is really limited, so I may not be able to the right person to answer this. Yeah, but you would like to understand the methods to be used. I think it would be quantitative only. How can we justify sample size? You need not to justify the sample size, but yes, when you calculate the sample size, you have to give the appropriate calculation in your thesis. No, it is based on your total population. Qualitative analysis, sometimes yes, it has been difficult. It any common method? See, when you say common method, we can't say there is any common method, or say quantitative method is also very commonly used, but depends upon your objectives, as I told you. Thank you, Mr. Mace. Thank you so much. Wanted to study the business model in the sports and business services, increase awareness amongst the people to become how to make these industry objective oriented research problem. See, when you say the problem, you'll have to you'll have to first understand that what kind of literature is available on that and what kind of variables people have already studied. Like you said, that the business model in the sports and fitness industry, which has increased the awareness among the people to become fit. Now here, you are saying the business model, sports and fitness industry. Okay, Now, sports is one aspect, fitness talks about health, diet. Okay, so you are basically collaborating between two factors, sports and diet. So you need to look into the literature where people are talking about health aspect, people are talking about being fit aspect through sports. Then you will reach into a problem state. Okay, now because when you talk about fitness, fitness not only comes from your sports, fitness also comes from your diet. So which fitness you are focusing from? I miss, yes, it will be, your recording will be there. Thank you everyone, thank you so much, thank you so much, thank you so much, thank you so much. And all those who are celebrating Eid, and wish you a very happy Eid in advance. Thank you so much. Aviral, I mean, obviously, if you think so, see, it's better to take the services, it's better to take the help than to be stuck with the work. Okay. Um, I think, Mr. Tawar, for your topic, which you said critical analysis of the grading at secondary school, it will be explanatory. It will be explanatory. Don't go only for the critical study. You also say that which topic you are identifying. You're talking about the grading system at secondary school. Okay, how can we control the unintentional plagiarism in research? Rephrasing. That's it. How many replication if good? If got good quantitative analysis is a replication. See, you can't control your respondents' responses, right? That you can't control. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much. It was lovely interacting with you all. Thank you so much, and let's have a webinar, and let's see all of you there. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Have a wonderful time. Yeah, I'm sure there it's also in India. Also, it's a iftari time for everyone. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.